Hello everyone, just Gordon here and welcome back to another Planet Zoo real life inspiration video, and today we're taking a look at the Arctic wolf. Now Arctic wolves aren't all that common in zoos, at least not around here, but what we do have is a whole lot of non-specific wolves, and what that means is that they are just crossbred between all sorts of species, so there may or may not be some Arctic wolf in there. What I chose to do for this video is to just have all white wolves that I've seen in this video, and whenever we get to the timber wolf, we'll do all the grey wolves I've seen. So let's get started over here with Artis, and Artis has these wolves signed. Also, a little backstage peek over here, always nice. Artis has their Arctic wolves signed as Hudson Bay wolves, which, as far as I can tell, is basically Arctic wolves. There are two different like subspecies or things. It's all very confusing. I don't understand wolves. It does not make a lot of sense to me. But they're white, so they're in this video, and that's the logic we're going by. So Artis has a lovely exhibit. This is just one of 3 viewing areas. That was a small like side one. Right now this is the main sort of viewing area where you're taking this snaking path through the enclosure with wolves being on one side of you as well as the other, and look at how beautifully lush that enclosure is, going from the other side through this. Yeah, you can see you just have this snaking path through it, and you're in the middle of the enclosure just surrounded by the wolves, and it's really cool. But the coolest part, aside from the fact that the foliage kind of also goes in, but we can see the wolves over there, they're on this side now. Boom! Where'd they go? Oh my god, they're gone. No. Very well acted by me. Now look, they're coming right up here. The wolves actually have a bunch of tunnels to go under the visitor path to get from one side to the other, and that is how the habitat is connected. So yeah, that's a super awesome little thing. It's just so cool. The wolves were super active when I was here. I think both times actually, constantly going from one side to the other and walking around, and yeah, they really seem to be enjoying their space, which is just super awesome. Yeah, the exhibit itself is also just really nice. And this is another one of those smaller viewing areas where you go through this hedge. And the entire habitat is surrounded by this hedge, so it's just super lush and green. And yeah, wow. This is absolutely one of my favorite things in all of Artis. I really love this enclosure a ton. And the wolves seem to do too, so that's all great. So let's move on to the next zoo and see what they have in store for us. So the next zoo is going to be Duisburg in Germany, and over here we got the Arctic wolf enclosure. I think these are actually signed as Arctic wolves, but I'm pretty sure they're not. They're non-specific, as I mentioned. Most of them are, at least according to Zootierlisten, which is a website that keeps track of like all the animals in all the zoos in Europe. But yeah, you can see nice fences. The glass barriers don't actually seem to have any like overhang or anything. I guess the wolves are not able to really climb that at all, so no extra protection is needed there. There's probably some hot wire along the bottom or something to keep them from getting too close or trying to jump. But yeah, over here we can see a bit of a water feature. It's currently turned off, but it looks like there would normally be some kind of cascading waterfall, a little stream over here, which is a pretty cool feature to have. And then yeah, the rest of the exhibit, you can see a bunch of logs. It's winter at the moment, so it's a bit barren, but I'm guessing that this would be just as lush as the one we just saw in Artis. Because yeah, look at all those bushes. So yeah, it's quite a nice exhibit. I quite liked it, and I think one more thing I want to quickly show you is indeed the sign over here. Yeah, where you can see that they are listed as Arctic wolves, but as I said, I'm not sure if they actually are. But yeah, let's move on to the next zoo, which I think is going to be the Caves of Hun. We've seen this a bunch of times already. Yeah, if it's a animal native to Europe, you're gonna find them here pretty much. They've got a huge space over here, which you can walk pretty much all the way all around, or at least around one half of it, to get to these elevated towers that gives you a nice view into the enclosure. And yeah, you can barely see the fence on the other side just because of how far away it is. As we zoom in, we can kind of see it. But yeah, here we got the wolves. I'm not sure which species these are assigned as exactly, but they do have a separate enclosure from the grey wolves. There's another wolf enclosure in the zoo with grey wolves, but these have their own little space. And yeah, we can see a nice little chain link barrier. We got a nice shelter for them as well. And now we will get off the tower and we will start walking around the other side of the enclosure. But there is not much to see there from the visitor side except for just a whole bunch of fence. This is absolutely huge. It's like a 5-minute walk around this enclosure, I want to say. Something like that. And yeah, we will get to another elevated point on the other side where you can get a nice view into the enclosure. Get a really nice view of these lovely wolves. You can sort of see that little shelter all the way in the back there, but the trees actually block out most of the cross viewing here as well. So yeah, they just got a really nice open bit of nature. Really, really cool. But it's time for us to move on. We're gonna go to the next zoo. And the next zoo, this is probably one of my favorites. This is Zoo de Maubeuge. This is in France, right across the border from Belgium. And we've got this steep hill that we're looking right up against. And I was lucky enough to actually have the wolves walking across this hill. And this was just so inspiring to me. I adore views like this where you're looking up against the animals. It gives them such a majestic, king-like, like royal feeling, especially now with the sun kind of lighting them up from the backs. It is absolutely gorgeous this way. Super impressive and yeah, such a cool exhibit that they've created over here. As you come around the bend, you will get a small glass viewing area as well with a water feature, which is really, really cool. And yeah, we can see some nice naturalistic wooden elements in here as well. Really nice vibe. And yeah, here's the water feature. Super awesome looking. I'm a really big fan of this. I will say I wish they covered up the concrete edges a little bit more, then it would have looked even cooler. But still, just the water itself brings so much life to this enclosure. And then with the log going across it, it would be really cool to see one of the wolves actually try to cross that. That would be incredible. But yeah, you're looking right up against the hill once again, but now with some rocks in there. And what I really like as well, we just saw it from in the visitor area. I think I got a better shot of it coming up. There's these rocks over here as well. So as you're standing here, it kind of blends the visitor area and the habitat together, which is just a really cool effect. It's very subtle, but I like it. It's nice. So as we continue walking, we actually are going to go uphill, and we will meet the wolves kind of eye to eye, but we can go all the way around the enclosure, got views from every side. It's not perfect for the animals. It's always nice if they got some place to hide, but I feel like this enclosure is decently big enough where they can get away from people even if they can go all the way around. But yeah, over here at the top we've got another glass viewing area where we are, I wanted to say eye to eye. It's not exactly eye to eye because of course we are a lot taller than the wolves, but yeah, you are on the same level as them, and you get a little bit more of a personal moment with them right over here. So yeah, super cool. I love this enclosure. It's really well done. But that is it for Maubeuge. We are going to go to the next zoo. I am French now. Next zoo is going to be Monde Sauvage. This is a video that you may be familiar with. This is a video that I actually already uploaded on my second channel. If you want to see cool animal videos, you can check that out. In this case, it was the wolves howling over here. Absolutely awesome. They were actually being agitated by the gibbons, which are a little bit back. Oops. A little bit back into the zoo. You can hear the gibbons howling and then the wolves responding. It's so cool. But we're not here necessarily for the wolves. If you want to see more of that, go check out my second channel. We're here for the enclosure, which is just a decent, nice large bit of flat space with some logs and things strewn about. Yeah, just a decent wolf enclosure over here. I'm going to take a peek over to see more of the enclosure right there. Pretty nice, right? And you've got a view of the bison field in the back as well. So if you're lucky, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. You have no choice. Now, if you're lucky, you'll see some bison walking in the back of the habitat as well, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, slightly interesting over here. It's not like an Arctic wolf. It's just a white wolf, just a white one. Nothing special. So yeah, next zoo, that will be Mondo Verde. See, we're gonna go from Monde to Mondo. And this is a weird zoo. We've got a giant rock man over here. Don't know what that's about, but this zoo is like a botanical garden sort of thing, and they've got all these weird statues and things all around. But they also have animals, and over here we have the wolf enclosure, and I quite like this one. It's not as lush and beautiful as some of the ones we've seen. I like the janky fence. I don't like how much hot wire there is, but I get that it's necessary because this is a very low fence. Like, I think this is the shortest of fences that we've seen in this video. And yeah, it is unsurprisingly assisted by a whole bunch of hot wire to keep the wolves from escaping. But yeah, I like the janky look of it. I like the log fence for the wolves over here, and we got a big stretch coming in. Yeah, all the wolves were very interested in me for some reason. I know why, it's because of my camera. But yeah, you can actually walk along this habitat for quite a bit as well. And yeah, we can see they've got some perches, some shelter. There's also a small separation area coming up. It's just a very decent enclosure. This is definitely one of the better enclosures in this zoo, because there's some stuff in here that I wasn't too much a fan of. Especially for things like big cats, and they had a tropical house that was very neglected. Maybe it's better now that it's been past COVID for a while, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this place, and I don't intend on returning anytime soon. But yeah, you do get a nice view of the wolves here, and a nice warning not to touch the fence because it is electrified. So next up we have Pairi Daiza, and Pairi Daiza also has two exhibits that have wolves in them, and one of them has grey wolves. This one that we're going to look at has white ones, but I actually think that the wolves we're about to look at are more closely related to the timber wolf than the other ones that I'm going to use for the timber wolf video, but I don't care. These ones are white. This is signed as being the Canadian wolf, and they're white, and they have a beautiful enclosure. I mean, look at this. It's so lush. It's got that slight hill going up from this viewing point. I love this area so much. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite exhibits in Pairi Daiza, just because of how naturalistic it is. I think it's really well designed. I just love it. It's across this thing, which is a crazy building. It's a restaurant. I ate there. It was decent. Very, very important information. But we can go around this train station to get to the other side of the enclosure over here. And this is actually where we were in the bison video as well. But yeah, we got an elevated view of the wolf enclosure right here. They just got some meats, which they were munching on. Very cute. But yeah, they got a little water feature. They got just a bunch more space. Yeah, it's a cool enclosure. I don't know what else to say. Look at that wolf go. One of the coolest things about this enclosure is actually something that I didn't see but hear when I was going out on a night walk in this area of the zoo, which you can do if you're staying at one of the lodges or at the hotel. And I was going on a night walk around like 11 p.m, 12 a.m. and yeah, I could just hear the wolves howling in the distance while being completely in the dark. It was just a magical experience, really. I wish I had like footage of it, but it's just pitch black, and I can't find the point where they started howling in any of my footage, which is literally just darkness. Like, my GoPro is not good at recording at night, I've found out through this experience. But yeah, that was just absolutely amazing, and super, super cool. But then over here we got one more glass viewing area on this side. Before we were on the opposite side of the enclosure from here. I think that view is pretty much blocked off by all those plants we're currently looking at, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, over here you got that really nice view of the terrain kind of sloping upwards. I love that effect so much. But yeah, that's it for Pairi Daiza. So we're gonna move on to the next zoo, the last one for this video, and that's gonna be Pakawi Park. And this is it. They have got a pretty large, pretty nice enclosure, I will say. I'll credit where credit is due. This is definitely one of the better enclosures in Pakawi. For the wolves over here, they got a nice large lake, which they probably don't use much, but a nice large enclosure around that lake as well. So yeah, not much to complain about here, actually. They are just pretty cool. And over here they're also signed as the Hudson Bay wolf, by the way. But like with most zoos, that's probably just a non-specific one. As far as I can tell from online sources. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you got some wolf, or specifically Arctic wolf, inspiration. And I will see you guys next week, where we're gonna talk about some tigers.